So 10 past the hour here in Moscow. North Korea has again drawn international condemnation by conducting another missile test. RT's Murat Gazdiev now joining us here live in the studio with details on this. And Murat, so Pyongyang rocking the boat again.
Well, it's a very small area, and no matter where you launch a ballistic missile, it's going to be threatening to someone. In this case, the missile that they launched was tracked almost from launch by at least Russia and likely by many other countries in the region, Japan, South Korea, that have advanced radar networks and also have, a hostile with North Korea. Nevertheless, the missile took off. It flew on a trajectory that went directly, almost directly west, almost directly toward Japan, and the missile fell somewhere in the middle of the Sea of Japan. But if you plotted the trajectory further, it would have taken the missile suspiciously close to Tokyo. Nevertheless, the Russians say that this wasn't a danger to Russia. The Americans say otherwise.
The trajectory of North Korea's missile was in a direction away from Russia's border, moving a significant distance. This launch posed no threat to the Russian Federation.
With the missile impacting so close to Russian soil, in fact closer to Russia than to Japan, the president cannot imagine that Russia is pleased. North Korea has been a flagrant menace for far too long.
The United States has come out and predictably condemned this act, this time around saying that the United States has a commitment to stand with its allies in the face of North Korean aggression. Thankfully, they had, no military threat in their statement this time, but they did say that they want far stronger sanctions. Let's remember last time that North Korea tested a ballistic missile. The United States sent a nuclear armada to the area, to the region, and that ignited very serious concerns that, things were about to turn very ugly.
Lastly, as we have said before, all options for responding to future provocation must remain on the table. Diplomatic and financial levers of power will be backed up by a willingness to counteract North Korean aggression with military action.
There could hardly be a clearer threat to world peace, more demanding of a unified response than the activities of one member of the United Nations, North Korea.
There are suspicions that this missile was, given its trajectory, given the altitude and its speed, that this was some sort of a new missile that North Korea has brought out and is now testing. Nevertheless, the American reaction this time around has been a little bit calmer. So perhaps they'll be able to talk this one out, after all these decades.
All right, RT's Murat Gazdiev. Thank you. Well, the Russian president and his Chinese counterpart have also voiced concern over the situation on the Korean peninsula. China is currently hosting a high-level global cooperation forum under the banner Belt and Road, with dozens of countries participating. Vladimir Putin, one of the keynote speakers, though speaking, I should say, was not all that he did. RT's Emily Su has been following the meeting of the Russian president and his Chinese counterpart at the forum for us.
As Xi and Putin met following the opening of the Belt and Road Forum, and as per usual, the meeting between the two leaders is very relaxed, very friendly. In fact, it was so relaxed that the Russian president decided to show off his piano playing skills and played two very famous Russian melodies to welcome his counterpart. Now, described by many as the most important strategic partners in the region, not only have the Russian and Chinese president describe each other as great friends, Moscow and Beijing also share very similar views on some of the world's most pressing issues. Take a listen to what President Xi had to say about that earlier.
In the current complicated and changing international context, China and Russia have delivered on our responsibilities as major powers and made efforts to find political solutions to the Syrian crisis and the nuclear issue surrounding the Korean peninsula. We have played an important role as balancing powers in maintaining regional and global peace and stability.
Putin echoes Xi's sentiment, adding that fresh approaches must be adopted in order to tackle some of the upcoming geopolitical challenges. Here.
We should abandon militaristic rhetoric, mutual accusations that only make the situation worse. You cannot solve any modern problem by the old means. We need fresh ideas, free from stereotypes.
Now, one of the fresh ideas that Putin was referring to is exactly China's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative, which is a multi-billion-dollar, multi-nation project to revive and expand ancient Silk Route trade routes and also to invest in infrastructure projects with an aim to connect Europe, Asia, and Africa all together. And the two-day forum that starts today gives China a chance to garner even more international support behind this project, and also quite impressively features heads from 28 nations. Although notably high-level officials from most of the U.S. and European economies are missing, but key international organizations are represented. That includes the UN Secretary General and also the President of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. They're all in attendance of China's top economic and foreign policy event of the year.
Well, with the top stories of the day and the main stories of the week, you are watching The Weekly. And, well, Donald Trump caught everyone off guard by firing his FBI director. That story and more just after the break.